simple human nature to keep little secrets about ourselves.
It's over. She knows. And Dexter appears to be fleeing the country. But this scene is actually an out-of-context flash-forward, aka another fake-out in the series.
Exposing the truth could destroy everything you are. What do? Run?
Oh, God.
He tries to play it off as an impulse kill, but as Deborah points out, he's dressed like a professional killer. No one just casually keeps plastic sheets and a set of murdering knives in their car just in case they might need them. Also, Travis is meticulously wrapped up, looking like this killing was part of a ritual rather than a spontaneous moment. Getting sweaty now, Dexter? Again, he kinda gets away with it, with Deborah partially sympathising with him and therefore not immediately dobbing him in. After all, Travis was a serial killer and probably deserved to be taken out. But this isn't the end of her questions. They need to come up with a story about what happened here, and Dexter has the idea of burning down the church, leaving the body exactly where it is, so that it looks like he offed himself for failing his doomsday mission. The team move in and all seems to match up, with the staging that Deborah and Dexter set. But as they're packing up, LaGuerta sees a glimmering piece of glass that didn't get burned up in the fire. It's a blood slide that fell down the drain. LaGuerta says. When Dexter gets back home, he catches Lewis walking away from his laptop, which suspiciously is still warm. He gives the excuse that he was just checking the news. But then we see him cancelling Dexter's credit cards, using the details he stole from the laptop. We'll find out why he's doing this later. Detective Anderson's heading back home too, but then he pulls over to help a guy change his tyre, who insists that he doesn't want help. But Anderson insists that he does help, and when he opens the guy's trunk, and yep, that's Anderson dead. Instead of helping the investigation, Dexter takes his own prints to find the guy who did it, already feeling the itch to kill again. It's been a few hours. The guy's name is Viktor Baskov, a Ukrainian criminal who is already known to the Miami PD. Dexter finds out that he's due to fly back to Kiev, so Dexter intercepts him at the airport and does the usual. Turns out this Victor guy was connected to a wealthy criminal boss man, and right now the police are investigating one of said boss man's clubs, as the stripper that Victor killed worked there. A small detail that's worth wrapping up, but you might not care about, is Batista reveals that he never looked into Quinn getting transferred, and then Quinn reveals that he never went to the tribunal, and so the two remain friends. Alright, now we're getting to the biggest moment of the show, since the last biggest moment one episode ago. Deborah's collecting her memories of how Biney wrapped her up in plastic sheets, just like she saw Dexter doing, and there's other similarities between his kills and the Bay Harbor Butcher kills. So later that night when Dexter gets home, she's there waiting for him, and she found his blood slides. So she has one burning question for him.
Are you a serial killer?
Yes.
It is too deep inside me. Harry was right. I am a monster.
Deborah's throwing up at his confession, and is further horrified to learn that he's been doing this since he was 20 years old, and choosing his victims based on Ghost Dad's code. So yeah, her world just got completely shattered. Dexter gives her the rundown of the horrible people he's taken out, to try and convince her that what he's doing is justifiable. The reality is, she's now a part of this secret, as she helped him cover up Travis's murder, so she can't just turn him in. But that doesn't mean he's not getting some comeuppance before she leaves. She decides the best course of action is to keep him under her wing and help him to overcome this addiction, insisting that he moves in to be under her constant watch, like she's the Eye of Sauron, cooking him up this gross looking spaghetti that I don't even think the Uruk-hai would eat.
Looks like
A plate of sloppy shit.
back on the menu, boys!
Batista's unit move in on the strip club again, as the manager's not letting up on what he knows. And this is when Quinn meets a particular dancing girl named Nadia. And I know what you're thinking, yes, they end up seeing each other, because Quinn is just that predictable. Dexter finds out that Lewis was the one who sent him the ITK hand, and he can't help but wonder why. He breaks into his apartment and realises that he's the one who cancelled his cards. For some reason, Lewis's laptop was already switched on and not locked. Doesn't really line up with him being a computer nerd, does it? He then finds some vlogs where Lewis is being blown by some strange lady.
There'll never be an app for this.
I'm Arya, the flagship female companion robot of Realbotics, and I can provide companionship.
And he also finds out that Lewis was involved in the firing of a software CEO by planting some illegal material on his laptop. When Lewis gets in, Dexter makes the grab and asks him what the hell his problem is. He explains that the reason he's been messing with Dexter is because he was being mean about the video game he's been working on.
I came to you for help with my game, and you said no!
Your game?
He makes his threats before leaving him alone. For now. It's been less than a day of being under Deborah's watchful eye, and he already wandered off, which she's quick to jump on.
Deborah didn't kill anybody.
How the do I know that? I've been calling you and calling you.
Right now, he's talking to a convict who's given the police a tip on where he buried his victims, making a deal that if he helps, he'll be allowed some ice cream from his favourite parlour.
They still use real ice cream. At least everything hasn't gone to hell.
He later reminisces about his ex-girlfriend Hannah, who he had a very close bond with. He explains that even though he's killed so many, there's still one person left on his list. Dexter ends up paying Lewis another visit, feeling the urge to kill again. But right at the moment where he's about to commit, he makes a call to Deborah, in the hopes that she can talk him out of it.
I couldn't go through with it, but I wanted to. I needed to.
Dad was wrong. The fact that we're here tonight proves that you were in control.
So maybe we'll see Dexter trying to make a change this season, but I wouldn't bet on it. The last scene to mention is with the criminal boss man, whose name is Isaac, a man who was born in Ukraine but has a British accent as he came here for school. He's paying a visit to a guy who the police questioned, as he's now a loose end that holds crucial information that the police might be able to get from him. Isaac ties up this loose end. He's also quite concerned that Victor never made it back home to Ukraine, suspecting that someone within the gang took him out without Isaac's permission. Dexter's growing antsy about not being able to kill and having Deborah tailing him all the time, having visions of murdering people as the hunger grows. He asks her to be more trusting, considering that he called her the last time he almost killed again. She's like, okay, but promise me no more naughty behaviour. So immediately he looks into his next victim, a guy called Raymond Spelter, who somehow got away with offing many of his love interests. Dexter tries to play both sides this time by showing Deborah all the things that Ray's gotten away with, but she's like, nah, be for real, Dex. You can't keep doing this.
This is done. And nothing better happened to that bald piece of shit over there.
Quinn and Nadia are still seeing each other, and Isaac has basically threatened her into being an informant so they can keep track of the police's investigation into Victor. He knows that the dead dancer girl was wearing a bracelet with a GPS tracker, which he guesses Victor would have taken off of her before he disappeared. So he gets their IT guy to trace its current location, and they can see that it's at the bottom of the sea, 8 miles offshore. Isaac knows this means he's dead, and so now he's out for blood, to find out who owns the boat that dumped the body. This is a cool scene here, where the very same person he's looking for is standing right next to him, but he's none the wiser, and even having a passive-aggressive chat.
I'm looking for something.
Aren't we all?
So we're both here just killing time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Killing time. I am the Bay Harbor Butcher.
I was about to say that this actor, Ray Stevenson, would make a perfect Bond villain, but when I looked him up I found out that he died at the way too young age of 58, which is a real shame, because for me he becomes the best part of this season. It's not necessarily a terrible season, but Ray Stevenson's doing some heavy lifting.
Ironic, isn't it? We're both here for a different reason than these other leering cretins, and yet the net result is the same. We're frustrated.
Continuing to get revenge on Lewis, he mails the ITK hand to Masuka, giving away that Lewis is the one who made the online purchase.
You're so fired. Vince, honestly, you out. Now.
Then, when Lewis gets home, Jamie's watching that vlog where that lady's checking his oil. And she knows that he did this while they were still together, because in the video he's wearing the shirt that Jamie bought for him.
It's not cheating if you pay for it.
Oh my god, you are a pig!
Batista's questioning the dead criminal's ex, Hannah, about the bodies of his victims, who were never found. Maybe she can identify some of the items that his mother handed in to the police after he failed level 1 of Crossy Road. Did Crossy Road even have levels?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
She has nothing for them, but before they leave, Dexter takes a swab of her DNA, and as this music's telling us, they can feel a tingle in the air.
No, you were right. I think we should keep things on a last name basis.
Isaac finds Dexter's boat, and also Lewis, who for all he knows is Dexter. He's here to sabotage Dexter's boat, and after being threatened to have his eyeballs drilled out, he owns up to who he is and why he's here. So Isaac now knows that he needs to go find Dexter, but before he leaves, Deborah goes to Ray's house to stop him killing his next date, which is awful timing because Dexter's just discovered that he likes to play games with mazes, and he gets the voice note saying that she's on her way, so he better hurry. Ray's wearing a Minotaur helmet and chasing this poor girl through his maze, and the whole thing's designed to disorientate the victim by having strobing lights and cranking up the heavy metal. Deborah gets herself stuck in there and nearly ends up as a victim, but then Dexter clobbers him round the head and saves the day. Ray ends up getting away before they can make the arrest.
I'm still alive, but I don't think I'm going to like the reason why.
Deborah suddenly remembers that she's in love with Dexter, but with his dark secret playing on her mind, she has a vision of taking a Rita-style bath.
Will you be mine?
She checks in with Dexter to make sure it was actually Trinity who killed her, and also to wonder if she's in any danger by still being in his life, especially after almost dying in the maze. On her lawyer's advice, Hannah pays a visit to the station to show her full cooperation on the investigation regarding her ex, Wayne, stopping by Dexter's desk for flirtatious reasons. Isaac and his team look over Dexter's file and realise that Victor's death might be the police's revenge for Mike Anderson. A more immediate issue is the halt on their drug trade, as the police are still sniffing around. So Isaac suggests they make their bartender take the fall and be the one who the police finger as the one who shot Mike. But this won't be so much him going to the station, as it will be him writing a confession and firing a bullet in his own brain. Dexter snoops around Ray's RV, finding his trophies and not much else, but then unexpectedly Ray comes back. Normally this would be an easy takeout for Dexter, but this Ray guy is pretty strong and clobbers him unconscious, waking up in a dark and eerie warehouse, finding a note that simply says run, as Ray's dressed as a Minotaur and is ready for the game to begin. After a fairly entertaining chase scene, he manages to get out and hop a ride on the truck.
He knows my face now.
It becomes clear that Isaac and Victor weren't just friends, as Isaac is a blubbering mess while looking at a picture of the two together. So that explains why he's taking this situation so personally.
I will avenge your death. Everything I do is for you.
When Deborah realises that she won't be able to change Dexter, she kicks him out the house, which frees him up to go take out Ray. And I love this moment where he's mocking Ray screaming. This is going to sound sadistic, but I was kinda hoping that he would kill Ray by making him go into the incinerator while still alive, as payback for what he tried to do to Deborah. But he takes the more humane approach of killing him first.
It's time for everyone to move on.
I almost forgot to mention, this is when Dexter finally destroys the blood slides. It's a critical moment I almost skipped over, and to be fair, this moment isn't given much ceremony, when it should absolutely be a big deal for him. These trophies defined him, and I feel that the emotions should be stronger, but he just kinda sends them into the fire while looking a little sad. Deborah meets back up with him, realising that he's dealt with Ray, and she feels a confusing amount of satisfaction, rather than just being mad at him.
What does that make me?
Human. I'm not some fat little man.
While cleaning his boat, he sees that some blood was left behind, and certainly not by him, as he always cleans up after dumping bodies. The blood comes back matching Lewis Green, and Dexter doesn't know what to make of it.
Why was he killed on my boat? Why would he have even been on my boat?
Masuka finds out that LaGuerta's using an outside lab to run tests on the blood slide, so Masuka fears that he might be getting fired. But Deborah finds out that she's just trying to clear Dokes' name as the Bay Harbor Butcher, as this new evidence suggests that he's still out there. When Dexter gets home, he notices his curtains are open, meaning that someone unknown is inside. He calls his own phone, leaving a diversion message saying that he's gone out to lunch, drawing Isaac out of hiding, making Dexter aware that he's been connected to Victor's death. He calls Isaac from a safe distance to see what the deal is.
Why were you in my apartment? Well, aren't you, Mr. Smarty Pants?
Isaac makes it known this won't be an eye for an eye revenge. After he kills Dexter, he'll be after his friends and family too, believing that the rest of the PD are conspiring to cover up the murder.
I work alone. I killed Victor.
Only me. I'll see you around.
That's the plan.
Continuing to help the investigation, Hannah helps them to match ex-boyfriend Wayne's trophies to his victims. Dexter notices that she seems to be nostalgic for the items, which indicates that maybe she wasn't a victim of his, but a willing accomplice. This theory backed up by the next burial site, where it appears that one of the victims was attacked by someone smaller than Wayne. You might be wondering why she's not being prosecuted for her involvement. Well, she's been granted immunity in her agreement to help. Getting back to the exciting stuff, Dexter spots that Isaac is following him, so he leads him into a club where Isaac's rival gang hang out, and Dexter informs them that their enemy is about to walk in. I love this little look Isaac gives when he realises Dexter's clever trick.
Definitely not as much fun as putting Isaac on my table.
When the scene gets called in, there's bodies everywhere, but Isaac's isn't one of them, and I like how we get to see the scene play out, as Dexter describes how it likely went down.
Hit his victim over the head, inflicted a massive skull fracture.
Dexter and Deborah share some concerned whispers as to how dangerous Isaac is. When his name comes up in the DNA searches, they cuff him and sling him behind bars. This probably won't last long. There's a great scene where Dexter goes to talk with him and ask if he's going to back off on his vengeance plan now that he's behind bars. But then Victor recounts a tale of his grandfather waiting many years before being able to enact his vengeance. What makes this scene great is Ray Stevenson's acting. He doesn't go hammy with the evil undertone, he plays it very calm while still coming across sinister, letting you know that this man's not to be effed with.
And the years rolled by. And my grandfather got on with his life as best he could. So you ask me if this is over. No. I'm afraid not.
Some of us get what we want, and we're happy, but some of us are never satisfied.
Dexter's certain that Hannah killed her ex. No, not that ex. Another one. The one she killed was her husband.
Her husband died of a heart attack at 40, perfect health, no family history, seems suspicious.
So this episode's about Dexter gathering evidence, so he can justify putting her on a kill table, visiting her flower shed on the pretense of looking for a houseplant, when really he's there to inquire about her late husband. It's not the most exciting scene, but we do learn that she has a preference for orchids, and it's a cool detail that the plant she chooses for Dexter is a type of orchid that looks like it has blood spatter. Boring. Dexter learns he's not the only one looking into Hannah's past. There's a famous true crime writer called Sal Price, and he's been researching a situation where she potentially poisoned someone who diddled her when she was young. Poisoning is kind of her hallmark in this show, as we'll soon come to learn. Quinn explains how he used to accept cash bribes when he used to work narcotics cases. Being a regular at this club, it was in his best interest to accept their bribes. But now he's compelled to investigate the club, he rejects their offer to look the other way.
I'm out for sale. Take care of yourself.
Club manager George gets him out to dinner so that he can threaten Nadia's life, unless Quinn agrees to destroy the evidence that's keeping Isaac behind bars. So reluctantly he does. Batista lets slip that he's thinking of retiring and getting into the restaurant biz, which I'm in full support of. I think the journey of his character really should be coming to its final chapter, and it would be nice for him to maybe exit the story on a nice note, rather than end up being killed because of his relationship to Dexter. Dexter gets Hannah to go out with him on a supposed date, but instead he's taken her to a Christmas grotto type place during their close times, and for some reason she's not spooked off by this, happily walking in holding his hand. It seems like a magical, romantic thing to do, but then he gives her the needle. He's taken aback when she doesn't plead for mercy, or even scream "fuck" like the previous one. She just looks a bit sad. So instead of ending her, he bell-ends her. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
There has to be some f***ing justice. It's you, Dex.
Well, I was really hoping we could have one season without Dexter having a love interest, but it's happened again, so we've got to deal with it. He drops her off back home, as she doesn't seem too fazed about nearly getting murdered, with the two saying their goodbyes and agreeing not to do this again. Sal Price notices the drop-off and talks about including this detail in his book.
It's not in my nature to keep quiet about anything.
You can't write about this.
It's nothing personal. I'm just doing my job.
Dexter offers him a barter of telling him Wayne's last words before being squished. Sal's been making his moves on Deborah, seeming to actually like her, with the side benefit of getting insider intel to make his book more juicy. Causing further problems, he hired an outside blood spatter guy to assess the crime scene photos, and he came to the same conclusion as Dexter did about Hannah being equally as guilty as Wayne. Only this other blood spatter guy didn't keep this assessment to himself. Deborah criticises Dexter for behaving like this again.
Hannah McKay killed this woman and you're covering for her.
Why would I want to do that?
To save her for your table.
When the PD realise that the Isaac evidence is missing, Batista pulls Quinn aside to question him, knowing that he's been seeing Nadia, and also his name was on the list of the people that recently went into the evidence locker. He of course denies any wrongdoing, so for now they move on. This situation of course leads to Isaac's early release, and so the game is back on. He finds Dexter out at lunch, but can't kill him right here and now, as the cops are keeping a close watch. But he does want to understand why Dexter of all people would seek revenge for Mike. They barely got to know each other, as Mike hadn't been in the PD very long. He offers no explanation, but he does go into detail about how he took out Victor, to show how he's also not to be messed with.
Crushed his skull with a fire extinguisher.
You're gonna regret sharing that with me.
To prevent Sal from looking into Dexter, Hannah offers him some more information about her traumatic past. She notices that he enjoys chewing on things, which will surely come in handy when she looks to poison him. Recalling her past, she breaks down, admitting to being the one who did the stabbing.
She just kept screaming and there was so much blood.
It's very well acted, and let's give her a shout out by name. Just need to look up what her name is. Oh wow, that's not at all what I was expecting. Yvonne Strahowski. Fucking hell. Yvonne Strahowski. Jesus Christ. Well done, Yvonne, you did great here. But I've got to be honest, at this point, I doubt many of you really care to hear me go on about more details of what was said in this exchange. Let's just skip to the part where the poison takes hold, and Sal Price dies of a heart attack while he was visiting Dexter.
Call 911.
For once, Dexter's actually innocent here, and it's nice to see him fully cooperating and not hiding what happened on the scene.
His head struck the table as he fell.
Jesus.
Would be a good time to separate entirely from Hannah. By the way, if you watch Always Sunny, please come check out my ranking series. I love making those videos, but my god, they're on life support view-wise. Well anyway, as you might have expected, he didn't separate entirely, he went right back to her. The episode ends with Deborah calling Dexter and asking him to take out Hannah, as she fits Harry's code.
It's a shame, really. Under different circumstances, I think we could have been great friends.
Hannah's kept the same calendar on her wall from 1996, claiming that it's just because she likes the picture. But really it's because it reminds her of when she tried to run away with Wayne to Argentina. Why is it all the worst people want to flee to Argentina? Dexter's picking up his regular order of donuts when suddenly a bullet nearly clips him.
What the hell?
With truly awful timing, he then gets a call saying that Asta and Cody need to come back home for a while as the grandpa isn't well. And with his current situation, he arranges for them to stay at Deborah's place. She's kind of pissed at him for saying no to killing Hannah, but she's still willing to help, for the sake of the kids. Speaking of which, Jamie just picked them up.
God, Cody, we don't want to have to stop again.
But I'm thirsty.
Can't we just leave him by the side of the road?
It's nice to see them again, and it's funny to see how they've changed into argumentative siblings, as all teenage brothers and sisters do. It's revealed that Asta now smokes pot, which naturally causes Dexter to have some strong words. I'm not going to go on too much about them being here, because they're only here for this episode. George is talking to the rest of the Brotherhood about a potential coup against Isaac, as they don't understand his obsession with taking out Dexter, rather than moving on by this point. They fear that his reckless revenge mission is going to compromise their operation. Dexter snoops around Isaac's apartment, but the house is already occupied by some other guy looking to take out Isaac. Since they can't share this job, Dexter cuts him down. When Isaac gets home, he realises that the uprising against him has just started.
So much for brotherhood.
This can be fixed. We can go home.
No.
We can call.
LaGuerta asks the harbour master to pull up the records on who had a boat here around the time of the Bay Harbour butcher case. And yep, he confirms that Dexter was here, so she's narrowing down her suspects to suspecting him. After learning that Dexter is seeing Hannah, Deborah crashes out and finally admits to him that for a long time she's been in love with him. Although he's blown his chance of sleeping with his sister now that she knows he's an icky serial killer. Poor fella must be gutted. The best scene by far is Dexter finding Isaac in this bar, drinking away his sorrows about the Brotherhood betraying him. Being in this gay bar gives him the kind of comfort that he knew he would never have by being open about who he is with the Brotherhood. So right now, he's not in the mood for a scuffle. But he will explain the heartache that Dexter's caused by killing the only person in this world who he actually loved.
You took from me the one thing that money and power can't bring back.
Really makes for an interesting antagonist. He's not another deranged psycho, he's a powerful man with a broken heart. And to have his love taken away by someone like Dexter, who only really did it to feed his addiction, it's easy to side with Isaac here.
It's a shame, really. Under different circumstances, I think we could have been great friends. Till next time.
There's a kit in my car. I can help with the pain.
No, I need you to do me one better.
Isaac's made aware of an infamous hitman who's been hired to snuff him out. As Isaac knows this man, he calls him up wondering if he can be bought out. But he's like, nah, I'm loyal to the contract. Out of options, he turns to Dexter with an offer. Help him and he'll call off his revenge mission. But he's like, nah, I'm loyal to me, and me alone. And also my work, which I'm going to go back to now. Attending a grisly scene where some guy was burned alive in his car. We meet a new freak this episode, a guy named Phil Bosso, who specialises in arson attacks. He assists them in investigating a series of fire-related killings for this season's serial killer, aside from Hannah. Isaac comes back in the evening with a new proposal. If you don't help me, my bodyguard Jurg's gonna kill Hannah. It is still part of his deal that if Dexter helps, he'll let him live.
No matter what you may think of me or my methods, I'm a man of my word.
There's another hitman on the scene called Benjamin, so it looks like Dexter's got his work cut out for him. He spots Oleg at a firing range and shoves a knife through his belly. This has to be his sloppiest kill yet. He's done this in a public and busy place, and he just leaves the body there. No chopping it up and dumping it in the ocean like he usually does. And I'm almost certain that there will be CCTV, if not in the gun range, at least on the buildings surrounding it. It's a place where guns are used. It's surely got to be heavily monitored. Well, anyway, on to Benjamin. He's following Dexter down to the docks, but little did he know this was a trap.
Sweetheart.
So that's both the hitmen taken out, and their deal has been finalised. But on the way off the boat, George stops Isaac with a bullet. You may be wondering why George's face was all cut up. Well, that's because Quinn got fed up of his blackmailing and attacked him in the club. Meanwhile, Hannah managed to slip in some poison into Jurg's pancakes and tries making her escape while he's choking. In the scuffle, he manages to knife her in the belly, and the two end up lying on the floor, presumably dead. But then Deborah walks in and finds that Hannah still has a pulse. She ends up being okay in the end, much to Dexter's relief, who's now saying that he loves her. Yep, he's done for, boys. He's too far gone. Isaac's also too far gone, using his last moments to request that he's taken out to sea so his body can rest in peace next to Victor's. He gives a heartfelt speech about the importance of true love before slipping into his forever sleep. Rest in peace, Isaac Serco, and of course, once again, rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. LaGuerta takes her suspicions about Dexter to Chief Matthews, but he laughs it off, considering the case to be well and truly closed, and she needs to move on. But later on, he comes up with a deal. He'll help her investigation if she helps him to get his old job back, so that he can claim his full retirement package.
Well, looks like Hannah's found herself another winner.
Hannah's dad has come to town, and oh look, it's Jim Beaver, somehow looking older here than he does in The Boys. He hasn't seen Hannah in a long time, as he's just got out of prison for being a con man. He was also an extremely messed up father to Hannah, once nearly letting her drown.
I was a real, genuine asshole of a father, and I needed to admit that to you.
He claims to be a changed man, who's now setting up his own crayfishing business, but they soon become suspicious of him when he mentions being short of money to fund his startup. When Hannah says she can't afford to help, he lashes out big time, making it clear that he's full of BS.
I'm sorry, I just don't have the funds.
Oh, what kind of daughter won't even help out her own father?
Jesus, Dad!
He didn't care about seeing Hannah again. He just come back for money to clear his gambling debt. He gets nasty and aggressive, deliberately smashing into her greenhouse in an act of bitter revenge. So Dexter tells him to leave now and never come back. He later threatens to expose Hannah to the press, so Dexter does what he does best. And so long to Jim Beaver's character, whatever the hell your name was. Dexter suspects that Phil Bosso is the arsonist, as he seems to know a little too much about the craft of burning people alive, and he's also kinda creepy looking. But he turns out to be a harmless guy, who uses his knowledge in pyrotechnics to contribute to Civil War reenactments. The real arsonist is on a bus right now, dousing people in kerosene and setting them ablaze. In each of these crime scenes, he's been leaving a calling card of sorts, the words "It's Bobby" written in the soot. Dexter suspects that this grown man arsonist has some childhood trauma that's caused him to have an imaginary friend called Bobby. So he searches the juvie records for a likely suspect.
There's your phantom.
Arrested for burning down his school's gym at age 12. Spent some time in detention.
When the arsonist gets home, Dexter's waiting for him inside his fire suit. In a moment of rare clarity for Dexter, he decides not to kill this guy and leave him for the authorities to find, giving Deborah a win, as she desperately needs something positive right now. There's more drama at the club, where George gets possessive over Nadia, and once again is threatening her. So Quinn shoots him dead, and gets Nadia to tag him in the arm using George's gun, making it look like a lawful kill. Only problem is, Batista is a smart cop, and he knows for sure that he heard the gunshots with a suspicious gap between, meaning the second shot was not an instant reaction.
I want the truth.
I told you the truth. I went down when George shot me.
For now, he has no choice but to believe Quinn's story, once again. Matthews urges LaGuerta to proceed with caution if she's going to be accusing someone from the PD as being the real butcher. She needs to be extremely sure and have the evidence be ironclad. They speak to the owner of the cabin where Dokes got exploded and find out that it was being rented out by the guy who killed Dexter's mother. So he has motive to chop murderers into bits, like what was done to his mummy. I swear if you do not pay this off with him being caught, I'm going to be so pissed. For the intro, we have this cool presentation of what Dexter might look like in the future, still murdering and still with Hannah, who appears to be the same age as present day Hannah. That's kind of weird. Harrison's grown up though.
But suddenly my future seems very possible.
There's not really much point to this vision, but it was a fun brief moment. Dexter learns that the last remaining guy responsible for his mother's brutal death, Hector Estrada, is about to be released from prison. Matthews then gives him a heads up about LaGuerta pinning him as the Bay Harbor Butcher, which is kind of a snake move against LaGuerta, but he's just being loyal to Harry by protecting Dexter. Despite helping her, he doesn't really believe Dexter is the one, but still he needs to ask him the questions.
You knew my father, you've known me my whole life. Do you think I'm the Bay Harbor Butcher?
Of course not.
He fills Deborah in on the situation, and they agree to a plan where Deborah will plant some evidence that definitively marks Dokes as the Bay Harbor Butcher. When they find Dokes' prints on a knife, Matthews puts his foot down to say, "That's it, you're done. You hear me? Done." This investigation has to stop. Hannah wants Deborah to move past her issues with her, so that she can be with Dexter, without Deborah being all whiny about it. But then Deborah basically says, "S my D, you horrible lady." Next thing she knows, she's waking up in hospital, with the doctor saying that she must have OD'd on her anxiety meds. But we all suspect that Hannah is behind this. Well, apart from Dexter, who is blinded by love.
She didn't poison you.
Well, I sure as shit didn't swallow a handful of pills.
But then he finds some residue in Deborah's water bottle, and later gets a call confirming that it was tainted by Hannah. Knowing she has to be stopped, but unwilling to kill her, he gives Deborah the pen that she used to poison Sal. So the next morning, they move in for the arrest.
I'm sorry.
Hannah McKay, you're under arrest for the murder of Sal Price.
Okay, now we're coming to a part of the episode that I almost regret capturing a live reaction to, as in hindsight it kinda makes me look silly. Donkey-brained, you could say. Dexter lures Hector Estrada into a shipping container to give him an identical death to his mother. But right at the moment where he's about to do the deed, Hector reveals that he only got out of prison due to LaGuerta pushing his release, and Dexter now realises that he's been set up to be caught. Now, somehow, in my distracted state of being a novice streamer, I missed this crucial information and assumed that this following scene shows Dexter getting away with it again. She can hear a chainsaw. Please, I'm begging you. I am begging you, show. Please do not be another fake out. I can't see how it will be a fake out. I am begging of you to not have this as a fake out moment where in some bizarre circumstances that there's going to be a separate chainsaw incident Yeah, like he's just some guy cutting a cake with a chainsaw. I swear if you do not pay this off with him being caught, I'm going to be so pissed. This shit. I hate you. I actually hate you, Dexter. Being so close to the end of the series, I was hoping for a drastic change in the upcoming final season. So my reaction here, while being a naive one, is my honest and true emotion that I do still kind of feel now, even though this particular close call was actually a logical scenario. I'm just tired of his story going in circles. It's always a big build up to almost being caught, and then usually doesn't get caught, or gets away with it in some manner. Despite Deborah knowing it didn't stop him from killing more. I left this reaction in because I don't mind being honest about being stupid sometimes. It's how I learn to be less stupid next time. Well anyway, let's close out this season with the finale episode. Despite now being in jail for probably the rest of her life, she's not going to reveal Dexter's secret because unlike him, she's no backstabber. They still have feelings for each other, so this won't be the end of their story. But still being pissed at him, she leaves him with a little gift before he leaves.
Goodbye, Dexter.
In quite possibly the most exciting turn of events, LaGuerta arrests Dexter for the murder of Hector Estrada, and seeing him walk through the station in cuffs is such a surreal experience. Both Deborah and Batista chastise her for making such a big mistake here, but she presses on and interrogates him with expertise, showing the damning proof that he was seen discarding a shirt covered in Hector Estrada's blood.
You killed him. You killed him like you killed all your other victims. Admit it.
She's not been my favourite character, but I do love this scene. Her emotions of hurt and betrayal, and also desperation to reveal the truth, is simply awesome to watch.
You betrayed me, this department, everybody around you.
But the best part of this scene is right now, with Masuka revealing that the shirt was reported missing from the evidence locker, and so it would appear that LaGuerta's trying to frame Dexter, which of course we know is actually Dexter making a clever play. Important clarification, it's also an old shirt from a previous case involving Hector. There is no evidence to suggest that Hector is dead, because he's not. As the title suggests, we get some flashback cameos of Dokes, which doesn't serve much purpose other than to be member berries. But I'm not complaining, it was good to see him again in some previously unseen scenes.
You like this blood shit a little too much.
I'm just doing my job.
LaGuerta begs Matthews to defend her position. He might not agree with her suspicions, but he can at least defend her integrity in being a good cop who's making a thorough investigation. Batista is in a similar position. He doesn't believe LaGuerta, but he does consider her to be family, and will always do what he can to support. Even though this day has been a complete mess, he really wants her to come along tonight to his retirement/New Year's party.
It wouldn't feel right without you.
I'll be there.
LaGuerta's last line of questioning is aimed at Deborah, asking why she was seen getting gas canisters at the station next to the church the same night that Travis was killed. Caught in the moment, Deborah's instinct is to gaslight her, suggesting that she's jumping to conclusions out of desperation. In court, Hannah's bail gets denied, meaning she's going away now, but then her friend sneaks her a sneaky pill that when ingested causes her body to freak out, and they rush her to hospital. She comes to when the doctors are distracted, and slips out to make her escape. So we'll be definitely seeing her next season. Dexter gets his final kill of season 7, taking out Hector Estrada, but Deborah realises that LaGuerta is en route to actually catch him this time. Dexter was expecting this however, and gets her with the knockout needle. He then sets up the scene to make it look like Hector and LaGuerta got into a scuffle and killed each other in the showdown. Deborah then turns up as LaGuerta comes to, and she has to make the awful choice. Kill LaGuerta and keep Dexter safe from prosecution, or kill Dexter and end this madness once and for all. Do I even need to play around here? We all know the completely effed up choice that Deborah's about to make. What the fuck? No! Holy shit! Oh man, truly harrowing stuff. And now they have to try and live with what they've done. Dexter's now a part of a murder that completely goes against his code, the murder of an innocent person. The New Year's fireworks light up the sky as we wave goodbye to this season. Oh boy, here we are once again. Another season done and dusted. I can't believe we're finally ready to recap season 8 of Dexter, which might be the last time I talk about this franchise. I'm not yet certain about that, but I can say for sure that right now I'm working hard on getting season 8 done. It's going to be a big moment for the channel, and I thank you all for being here, whether you're a Patreon member, channel member, or just being here with me casually. For you guys that are on Patreon / being a channel member, you'll be the first in the loop to hear what big series I'll be covering next, as part of your exclusive updates. My heart goes out to all of you watching, and here's a link to my latest season of Always Sunny if you want something quick to watch, and continue your presumably daily binge of my obviously top tier content. Alright, that's all for now, bye bye.